Scribble drawing with Mr. G. All right, starting out with a blank piece of paper. Notice when I hold my pencil close to the tip, I can do a very detailed drawing. That's how we draw, that's how we write our names. But if we hold our pencil towards the end, it's very hard to do detail, and that's what today is all about. It's all about doing more vague, not very detail-oriented drawings. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to practice a little bit, just getting my hand warmed up to moving my entire arm while I'm doing this, and just putting that pencil down very lightly. Really, I'm not pushing down hardly at all. And you'll notice that I'm just kind of got a relaxed feel. Like if I do this a little bit closer to the tip, then when I do some scribble drawing, when I want to do some more detail, I can do it that way. So I'm going to start out very quickly by just making a circle. And then I'm going to start going back and forth with little types of scribbling drawing. You can make S's or ribbons or however you feel with your hand. Just kind of going back and forth. This is why we call it scribble drawing, because we're really just scribbling. Now I might be doing this a little bit fast. You can take your time doing this. Notice I'm not picking my pencil up at all. I'm just kind of letting it go, and it's like one big continuous ball of string almost, which is kind of what it looks like we're making. Also, pay attention to how I am taking the pencil and going over the same areas, and when I do that, it gets darker and darker and darker. And this is our way of shading with scribble drawing without really doing any detailed shading. You just keep going over it, and you can make those areas even a little smaller scribbles, but it's giving the illusion of shade. So it's kind of a sphere. If you squint your eyes while you're looking at it, you might be able to see that a little bit better. What I'm going to do is just a simple evergreen tree. Some of you may have your Christmas trees up already. This is pretty simple. You just start very tiny at the top, and then you just get bigger on either side, and try to keep it even on the right side and the left side, and you just get bigger and bigger. Just kind of doing little tiny squiggly lines. Nothing in particular. And this will give you the illusion of a tree, an evergreen tree. And next we'll try just a regular tree. So I'm just going to put a trunk down with maybe a few branches. So a line like that, nothing perfect. And then just put some squiggly little lines out. These don't have to be perfect because they'll be hidden anyway. So this just kind of gives you the idea of the structure of the tree. And then we'll just start scribbling, kind of like we did with the sphere. Back and forth. These are kind of like, I guess I tried kind of maybe star-shaped scribbling. I don't really know what to call those. I just call it scribbling. And so you just kind of fill it in like a tree. You think a tree might look. And then maybe I'll do a little bit, kind of like what I did with the sphere. Maybe I'll add a little bit of shadow on one side of it. And you can kind of tell maybe it looks a little bit more like a tree. But I think that trunk down there needs to be a little bit bigger. That's if I needed to say anything about that. But what we're trying to do is just make you more comfortable with the idea. We don't have to be very precise and specific when we're trying to draw. We're trying to just give the idea of an object. And if we look at this object, we can see that it is, in fact, a tree. Let's put a little bit of ground out here. So we're jumping away from the idea of a straight line for everything that we do, especially when we're out in nature. We draw a lot of organic lines. Now for the real project at hand, we're going to attempt to draw an apple. So I'm going to put another circle. Notice how I'm going over these lines and over them. Not just one little circle, but just really lightly going over it. And at the very top of an apple, we need to know where the stem is coming out of. So we put a little bit of a curve there, maybe a little bit of a V, very light V shape. And so then I got to figure out where my light is going to come from. And I'm deciding that my light's coming from the right side, the top right. So that's where we're going to have what we call a highlight. So that's the area that's probably not going to have a whole lot of scribble in it. And then I'm just going to start to fill it in, kind of like I'm coloring. Throughout this whole time, I'm drawing very lightly. I'm not pushing down very hard because I know that if I go over a spot lightly, it'll just get darker and darker anyway. So that's kind of the goal of what we're doing, is just layering these scribbles. And eventually, we'll create shade on one side. That would be the bottom left side, where my fingers are, that side. The nice thing about drawing an apple is it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. No apples are perfect circles. So I'm going to do very close to what I did with the sphere, is just darken one side of it. All filling in with just little tiny scribbles. Once I feel like I'm satisfied with the whole apple, then I need to draw some kind of a stem. And stems are not too hard. They're just, it's like a little tiny stick just pointing out. So I would draw a little bit of a line, and now I'm doing little miniature scribbles. Tiny little miniature scribbles just to give the idea of a stem right there. I don't think you can do a stem really wrong because they all look very different. And now I think I'm going to try to do a leaf. And a leaf is kind of like an eye shape. If you look, you've all looked at leaves before. And then leaves sometimes have that little split down the middle. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of scribble drawing on top of that too, really lightly to start out with. I'm just going to fill that in a little bit more, probably add maybe just a little bit of darkness to one side of it to add some shade. And then maybe a little bit right in the middle of the leaf above our little split in the leaf. And then I'll give a little bit of shade. And that is our apple. Drawing a better stick figure. Most people do stick figures like this. Easy, right? If you want to make yours a little bit better, you add a head. And instead of just doing 4 lines, you can add some shoulders and you add some hips. And instantly this will make your stick figure better. And you add a little bit of, there's an arms and there's legs, so your stick figure's better. But that's the first version of it, the first iteration of it. So we want to do an even better stick figure. So we'll put a head down again. We'll put the spine down just like we have. There's some shoulders right there, and we'll put some hips down there. This time we're going to look at our arms and notice that our arms have elbows. So we'll put the first part of our arm and then our second part of our arms. Same thing with our legs. We have kneecaps. So we can divide our legs into 4 different sections and our arms. Then we're going to try another step up. Same thing, head, spine, shoulders, except for this time we're going to connect those two. We're going to make kind of a chest area, and then we'll make a waist area. And then this time we'll just connect those. Upper legs to your lower legs again. Make a little joint where the knees are. Same thing with our arms. There's our elbow there. We know that our forearms extend from our elbow. And of course we're going to add some feet this time. Let's see what else we can do. We'll do a head, and this time we're going to make everything a little bit more full, and we're going to complete everything with our scribble drawing. Some people may want to learn this just to improve their figures. Some people want to be comic book artists, so they want to learn how to make their comics a little bit better. So I put a shoulder mark in there, and I put a waist mark in there. And then this time I'm going to do kind of a full chest with joints for my shoulders and of course for my elbows. My upper arm to the bottom arm. And then I'm going to have my legs kind of coming out of the waist area. Don't worry, this will start to look a little bit better. There's my knees, my lower legs. And now I'm going to kind of connect those. I'm going to put some weight onto these figures here just by connecting them. Because I know that people's legs aren't just sticks, you know. We have bones underneath them, yes, but we've got muscle and we've got skin on top of that, and then we have clothes on top of that. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Making these things a little bit more meaty, so to speak, I guess. And there's a little hand. And then I'm going to finish it up by doing what we've been doing all day, is doing the little scribble drawing. So we can just kind of fill those in with a little bit of scribbles here and there and cover everything up. If you wanted to do this even better, you could erase some of the lines that you've created in the middle. And then we'll just scribble the clothing basically on. And that's how you go from a stick figure to drawing a body figure. Thanks for watching.